The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, causing every screen at the United Earth Defense Command to flash with an odd purple glow. Ambassador James Walker stood in the control room, his gray suit a stark contrast to the military uniforms around him. His weathered face reflected the strange light as he read the alien text that somehow translated itself into perfect English. "We, the Galactic Council, extend our greetings to the species known as humans. Your recent achievement of faster-than-light travel has qualified Earth for Council membership. We request the presence of your chosen representative within the next solar cycle." Walker rubbed his temples, memories of the devastating meteor storm of 2157 flashing through his mind. He had been just a junior diplomat then, watching helplessly as space rocks demolished parts of major cities across Earth. Humanity had rebuilt, of course. They always did. But something about those meteors had never quite made sense to him. "They're being oddly formal," General Roberts said, his voice cutting through Walker's thoughts. The general's face looked older than his 60 years, carved with the responsibility of defending Earth. "Most first contact messages we've received were more casual." Walker nodded, noting how the message seemed carefully worded, almost like a prepared statement from someone afraid of saying the wrong thing. In his 30 years of diplomatic service, he'd learned to read between the lines of carefully crafted messages. "That's why they chose you, James," Roberts continued. "You've got the best poker face in the diplomatic corps. Something's off about this whole thing, and we need someone who can keep their cool while figuring out what it is." The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. Walker studied every piece of information Earth had gathered about the Galactic Council since first detecting their communications 5 years ago. 217 species, all united under one governing body. It should have been impressive, but something felt wrong. The day of departure arrived with little fanfare. The Council had sent a ship, sleek, purple, and impossibly large. It dwarfed Earth's best vessels, making them look like rowboats next to a cruise ship. Walker stood at the boarding platform, a small bag containing his diplomatic materials in one hand. Ambassador Walker, a tall, blue-skinned alien, greeted him at the ship's entrance. "I am First Officer Blue. Welcome aboard the diplomatic vessel Peaceful Intent." The alien's voice wavered slightly on the word peaceful, something that didn't escape Walker's notice. As they walked through the ship's corridors, Walker observed how the alien crew members reacted to his presence. They would glance at him, then quickly look away, their movements almost guilty. Some would whisper to each other in their own languages, though their translation devices were supposedly turned off. In his private cabin, Walker unpacked his bag and pulled out an old photograph. It showed Sydney before the meteor storm, his hometown, beautiful and intact. Next to it, he placed a photo taken just after the impact. The destruction pattern had always bothered him. The impacts had been too precise, too targeted at infrastructure, while mysteriously avoiding population centers. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. "Ambassador," First Officer Blue's voice came through the room's communication system. "We will arrive at the Council hub in approximately 40 Earth hours. Is there anything you require?" "No, thank you, First Officer," Walker replied, still studying the photographs. "Everything is perfectly fine." After the communication ended, Walker sat at his desk and began writing in his personal log. Day 1 aboard alien vessel. Crew behavior suggests collective anxiety regarding human presence. Possible connection to 2157 incident requires investigation. Earth chose peace and diplomacy after rebuilding from the meteor storm. But one question keeps nagging at me. What if those weren't meteors at all? He closed the log and looked out at the stars streaming past his window. Whatever secrets the Council held, he would find them. After all, diplomacy wasn't just about maintaining peace, it was about uncovering the truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be. The Council hub hung in space like a massive silver flower, its petals made of metal and light. Walker stood at the viewing window of the Peaceful Intent, taking in the structure that housed the greatest gathering of alien species in known space. "It's quite impressive, isn't it?" First Officer Blue said, standing carefully apart from Walker. 217 species meet here to guide the galaxy's future. Walker noticed the officer's hands trembling slightly. "And now humanity makes 218, he replied, watching Blue's reflection flinch in the window. The docking process took an hour. Walker used this time to straighten his dark suit and review his prepared speech. His tablet contained standard diplomatic greetings in 30 major alien languages, though he doubted he'd need them with the universal translators. As he stepped off the ship, Walker found himself in a massive entry hall. The ceiling stretched so high it disappeared into shadows. Aliens of every size and shape moved through the space. Some floated, others crawled. Many walked on varying numbers of legs. All of them stopped to stare at him. "This way, Ambassador," a small green alien said, introducing itself as Guide Green. "The Council is waiting." They walked through winding corridors, each turn revealing new wonders. But Walker kept his attention on the reactions of those they passed. The pattern continued: quick looks, hurried whispers, subtle movements away from him. These weren't the reactions of people meeting a new species. This was guilt. The main council chamber took his breath away despite his suspicions. Curved rows of seats rose like a stadium, each filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The lighting adjusted automatically for different species' comfort. At the center stood a raised platform where the high speaker would address the gathering. "Welcome, Ambassador Walker of Earth," a deep voice echoed through the chamber. High Speaker Gray, a tall being with shifting metallic skin, stood on the central platform. "Please, take your place." Walker walked to the designated spot, a small platform that raised him to speaking height. He could see everything from here, including how the nearest council members leaned away from his platform. "Humanity joins us at last," High Speaker Gray continued, but Walker caught the slight tremor in the alien's voice. A momentous day for the council. As ceremonial greetings began, Walker activated his tablet, but not for his speech. Hidden behind diplomatic notes, a program analyzed the council's historical archives, which had been shared as a welcome gift. His team back on Earth had worked through the night to create this program, designed to search for any mention of Earth before official first contact. A small red light blinked on his tablet. They'd found something. "And now," High Speaker Gray announced, "we invite Earth's representative to address the council." Walker stepped forward, his prepared speech ready. But his eyes caught the data now scrolling across his tablet. Ship movements from 2157, classified council records, images that made his blood run cold. "Honored members of the council," Walker began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I stand before you with a question." The chamber grew still. High Speaker Gray's metallic skin rippled with what looked like nervous energy. "In Earth's history," Walker continued, watching reactions carefully, "we experienced what we called the meteor storm of 2157. Isn't it interesting?" He paused, noting how several council members suddenly sat straighter, "that in your own records, this event has a very different name." The silence in the chamber became deafening. Walker reached for the control panel on his platform, accessing the chamber's main display system. His tablet connected instantly, and the image appeared on every screen in the vast room. Council ships, weapons armed, approaching Earth. "Perhaps," Walker said into the heavy silence, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, "someone would like to explain why your records call it the failed cleansing of Sol 3. High Speaker Gray's metallic skin went completely dull. In the rows of seats, hundreds of alien representatives began to whisper frantically. Walker stood calmly, watching the chaos spread through the chamber, knowing that with these words, everything was about to change. Behind him, he heard First Officer Blue whisper something that sounded very much like a prayer. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Hundreds of alien representatives jumped from their seats, their voices creating a storm of sound that echoed off the high walls. High Speaker Gray's metallic skin had turned almost black, a clear sign of distress. Walker stood calmly at his platform, his tablet now displaying more damning evidence. The data his team had found painted a clear picture, one that made his stomach turn. Order. High-speaker Gray's voice boomed through the chamber. We will have order. The noise slowly died down, but the tension remained thick in the air. Walker touched his tablet screen, bringing up the next piece of evidence on the chamber's displays. These are your ship formations, Walker said, his voice steady. Attacking patterns, not meteor paths. Your own records show this clearly. He swiped to the next image. And here are your weapon signatures, perfectly matching the meteor impacts on Earth. A large purple alien stood up from the front row. This is outrageous. These are classified military records. How dare you? How dare we? Walker's voice cut through the chamber like a knife. How dare we look into an attack on our home world? An attack that killed thousands of our people. The purple alien sat down quickly, their multiple eyes blinking rapidly. Walker continued, bringing up more images. Your records show everything. The planning meetings. The decision to cleanse Earth because we were, in your words, too aggressive to be allowed to reach the stars. You tried to stop us before we developed faster-than-light travel. He paused, looking around the chamber. Some representatives couldn't meet his eyes. Others stared in open shock at the evidence. But here's what I find most interesting, Walker said, pulling up the final set of data. Your attack failed. Not because you showed mercy, not because you changed your minds, but because humanity was stronger than you expected. The screens now showed the aftermath of the attacks. Earth cities rebuilding in weeks instead of years. New defense systems appearing months after the impacts. Humanity united, pushing forward, reaching for the stars with even greater determination. Your own reports show your surprise, Walker continued. You expected us to fall into chaos. Instead, we helped each other. You expected us to give up space exploration. Instead, we developed better ships. You expected us to destroy ourselves. Instead, we grew stronger. High-speaker Gray stepped forward, their metallic skin now a swirling mix of dark colors. Ambassador Walker, please understand. It was standard procedure. All species face a test before reaching the stars. We must ensure they are ready. Walker's hand tightened on his tablet. A test. You call the deaths of thousands a test. Most species fail. A small green council member spoke up. They either destroy themselves after the attack or prove too weak to survive it. Only the strongest species deserve to join Galactic society. Walker looked down at his tablet, at a picture of his hometown after the meteor strike. Then he looked up, his eyes hard. And what does it say about humanity that we not only survived but thrived? That we reached the stars despite your best efforts to stop us. The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was a silence of realization. These aliens had tried to destroy humanity, but in doing so, they had only proven humanity's greatest strength, the ability to face disaster and emerge stronger. Your records show you've done this to countless species, Walker said, his voice now carrying a weight that made several council members shrink in their seats. How many civilizations have you destroyed in the name of your test? How many species never reached the stars because you decided they weren't worthy? He looked around the chamber one final time, seeing the guilt, fear, and growing realization on hundreds of alien faces. Well, council members, Walker said, his finger hovering over his tablet to reveal even more evidence. Perhaps it's time for humanity to show you exactly what kind of species you failed to destroy. The chamber erupted once again, but this time, no one called for order. They all knew that everything was about to change, and humanity would be the one changing it. As the chaos in the council chamber continued, Walker received an urgent message on his tablet. It was from Earth Command. Defense fleet standing by. Orders. He looked up at the panicking aliens around him and made his decision. With steady hands, he typed back, "Hold position. No aggressive action. Let diplomacy work first." High Speaker Gray finally managed to restore some order by activating a low-frequency sound that made everyone quiet down. The metallic-skinned alien turned to Walker, trying to project authority despite their clearly shaken state. "Ambassador Walker," Gray spoke, "perhaps we should discuss this matter in private." "No," Walker cut in firmly. "No more secrets. No more private discussions." He pressed a button on his platform, and new images appeared on the chamber's screens. "These are Earth's current defense capabilities." The images showed Earth's fleet, thousands of ships hidden in the shadows of planets and asteroids throughout the solar system. Ships that the Council hadn't detected, proof that human technology had surpassed their expectations. "You tried to destroy us," Walker continued, his voice echoing through the silent chamber. "Instead, you made us stronger. Every meteor that hit Earth taught us something. Every impact showed us what we needed to defend against." A large red alien stood up. "Impossible. Your species couldn't have developed this level of technology so quickly." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "You underestimated us once. Are you sure you want to make that mistake again?" He brought up more images: Earth's planetary shield system, the moon base, the Mars colonies, all built in secret while the galaxy thought humans were just beginning to reach for the stars. "But here's what you should really think about," Walker said, switching to a new set of data. We figured out your attack years ago." Gasps echoed through the chamber. High Speaker Gray's skin turned almost white. "That's right," Walker continued. "Earth's scientists analyzed the impact patterns. We found pieces of your ships. We knew it was an attack. But instead of seeking revenge, we chose to wait, to learn, to understand." He walked around his platform, making eye contact with various council members. "We could have launched a counterattack at any time in the last 5 years. Our fleet could strike every major council world before you could react." The chamber erupted in fearful whispers. Walker let them talk for a moment before raising his hand for silence. "But we didn't attack. Do you know why?" He paused, looking directly at High Speaker Gray. "Because that's the real test of a species' readiness for the stars. Not whether they can survive an attack, but whether they can choose peace when they have the power for war." Walker touched his tablet one final time, showing a new image: Earth's reconstruction efforts after the attack, people of all nations working together to rebuild. "You wanted to see if we were worthy of joining galactic society," he asked. "Well, here's your answer. We discovered your attack, developed the power to destroy you, and chose instead to come here and talk." High Speaker Gray stepped forward, their metallic skin slowly returning to its normal color. "Ambassador Walker, what do you want from us?" Walker looked around the chamber, at the hundreds of alien faces watching him with a mixture of fear and growing respect. "I want the truth told to every species in the galaxy. I want your testing program ended. And I want humanity to have a say in making sure nothing like this ever happens again." He straightened his suit jacket and stood tall. "You tried to destroy us because you thought we were too aggressive to join galactic society. Now you'll accept us because we proved we're wise enough to handle power responsibly." The chamber was completely silent now. Even the most hostile council members seemed to be considering his words. "So," Walker said, his voice firm but calm, "shall we begin discussing the terms of humanity's full membership in the Council? This time as equals, not as executioners and victims." High Speaker Gray looked around the chamber, then back at Walker. In that moment, everyone present knew that the galaxy's balance of power had just shifted dramatically, not through force, but through the power of truth and the wisdom to use it properly. High Speaker Gray's metallic skin shifted through various colors before settling on a calm silver. The chamber remained silent, every alien species waiting to hear the official response to Walker's demand. "The Council recognizes Earth's right to know the full truth," Gray finally spoke. "We will share everything about our species testing program." Walker nodded, but kept his expression neutral. Please, explain to everyone present why you thought you had the right to test other species. A tall, ancient-looking alien with crystalline features stood up. Walker recognized him as Elder Crystal, one of the Council's founding members. It began 10,000 years ago. Elder Crystal's voice echoed through the chamber. When we first achieved space travel, we discovered something terrible. Species that reached the stars without proper development often destroy themselves, and others. Walker watched as images appeared on the screens. Planets reduced to ash, entire solar systems devastated by war. So we created the test, Elder Crystal continued. We would strike at pre-FTL civilizations with enough force to challenge them, but not enough to ensure destruction. Those who survived and rebuilt proved their worth. Those who fell into chaos or destroyed themselves. The Elder paused. We considered it mercy, preventing them from causing greater harm later. And how many species failed your test? Walker asked, though he already knew the answer from the data his team had found. 842. High Speaker Gray answered, skin rippling with what might have been shame. Only 217 passed, until now. Walker took a deep breath. And of those 217, how many survived like we did? How many figured out the truth and chose peace over revenge? The chamber grew even quieter, if that was possible. None, Elder Crystal admitted. You are the first. Walker let that sink in for a moment. Show everyone your data on Earth's response to the attack, he commanded. New images filled the screens. Humans from different countries working together to rebuild cities, scientists sharing discoveries freely, nations pooling resources to advance space technology. You expected us to fight each other for resources after the attack, Walker said. Instead, we created the first truly united Earth government. You expected us to abandon space exploration. Instead, we accelerated it. You expected fear to drive us apart. Instead, it brought us together. He walked to the edge of his platform, looking directly at Elder Crystal. Your test wasn't just about survival. It was about how species respond to violence. And you never considered that a species might choose peace not from weakness, but from strength. High Speaker Gray stepped forward. Ambassador Walker is correct. Our data shows that Earth could have destroyed at least 60% of Council worlds before we could mount an effective defense. Yet they chose diplomacy. Murmurs spread through the chamber as species began to realize the full implications. The humans they had tried to destroy could have eliminated them. Instead, they were offering peace. Perhaps, a small blue alien spoke up. We have been testing for the wrong things all along. Walker nodded. Strength isn't just about surviving an attack. It's about choosing how to respond. Earth could have become exactly what you feared, a violent, revenge-seeking species. Instead, we chose to be better. He touched his tablet, bringing up images of Earth's current peaceful achievements. The Mars terraforming project, the Jupiter energy stations, the asteroid belt colonies. This is what humanity did while preparing for possible war, Walker said. Imagine what we can do now, working together in peace. The chamber erupted in discussion, but this time it wasn't panic. Species were talking to each other, nodding, considering. High Speaker Gray's skin shifted to a bright, clear silver, a sign of decision. Ambassador Walker, the Council acknowledges humanity's wisdom and strength. We formally request Earth's help in reforming our approach to emerging species. Walker allowed himself a small smile. Earth would be honored to help. But first, we need to contact every species you've tested and failed. They deserve to know the truth. And perhaps, with proper help, some of them might still reach the stars. The Council members looked at each other, realizing that humanity wasn't just joining their galaxy. They were about to change it forever. The Council chamber had transformed into a negotiation room. The circular displays now showed Earth's proposed changes to galactic law, while Walker stood calmly at his platform, watching the reactions of various species. Let me be clear about Earth's position, Walker said, his voice carrying easily through the chamber. We don't want your technology. We don't want your resources. What we want is change. High Speaker Gray nodded, their metallic skin now a steady bronze color. What specific changes does Earth demand? Walker brought up the first proposal on the main screens. First, immediate end to all species testing. No more attacks on developing civilizations. No more playing judge over who deserves to reach the stars. Several council members shifted uncomfortably, but none spoke against it. Second, Walker continued, touching his tablet. Earth will lead a new program to contact and assist species previously failed by your tests. Those who survived but didn't meet your criteria deserve a second chance. That could be dangerous, a reptilian council member argued. Some of those species might seek revenge. Walker smiled slightly. Then who better to help them than humans? We've already chosen peace over revenge once. We can show them the same path. The reptilian alien sat back, unable to argue with that logic. Third, Walker brought up more data. Earth will share its defensive technology with the Council. This caused an outbreak of surprised whispers. High Speaker Gray's skin flickered with confusion. You would share your military advantages. Yes, Walker said firmly, because Earth's greatest defense isn't our ships or weapons. It's our unity, our ability to work together. That's what we really want to share. He displayed images of Earth's United Defense Force, showing crews of different nationalities working together. We learned that real strength comes from cooperation, not competition. It's time the galaxy learned the same lesson. Elder Crystal stood up slowly. And what guarantees does Earth want in return? Just one, Walker replied. He touched his tablet one final time, bringing up a simple document. We want the Council to adopt a new primary directive. Protection over punishment. Help over harm. Every species deserves the chance to reach the stars on their own terms. The chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had never talked to each other began debating the proposal. Walker watched as old enemies found themselves agreeing. Hostile species began nodding at each other's points. High Speaker Gray raised their hands for silence. Ambassador Walker, what you're proposing would fundamentally change how the Council operates. Change 10,000 years of tradition. Yes, Walker said simply. Because 10,000 years of tradition led you to attack Earth. And look how that turned out. He pressed another button on his tablet. The screen showed Earth's hidden fleet again. But this time, they were powering down their weapons. A clear gesture of trust. Earth could have demanded anything right now, Walker continued. We could have asked for technology, resources, territory. Instead, we're asking you to be better, to help us make a galaxy where no developing species has to fear destruction from above. The chamber grew quiet as his words sank in. Even the most conservative council members seemed to be considering the wisdom in his argument. We put it to a vote, High Speaker Gray announced, all in favor of accepting Earth's proposals and reforming the Council's approach to emerging civilizations. Walker watched as species after species raised their hands, tentacles, or appendages. Even those who had initially opposed him seemed to understand that this was a historic moment. The vote is unanimous, Gray declared, their skin shining bright silver. The Council accepts Earth's terms. Ambassador Walker, welcome to a new era of galactic cooperation. Walker nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Thank you. But our work is just beginning. Somewhere out there, another species is looking up at the stars, dreaming of reaching them. This time, when they get close, they'll find friends waiting to help them, not weapons meant to test them. The chamber filled with approving sounds from hundreds of species. They had come expecting to manage a potentially dangerous new member. Instead, they found themselves part of a peaceful revolution, led by the very species they had once tried to destroy. Now, Walker said, straightening his suit, shall we begin planning our first contact with those species we need to help? 6 months after the historic council meeting, Walker stood at the observation deck of Earth's new galactic embassy. The massive structure floated in space near the council hub, its design a perfect blend of human innovation and alien technology. Through the wide windows, he could see ships from dozens of species coming and going, many carrying delegations seeking Earth's guidance. Ambassador Walker, his assistant, called from the doorway. "The first rehabilitation mission reports are ready." Walker turned from the window, picking up his tablet. The screen displayed results from humanity's efforts to help species previously failed by the Council's tests. The numbers brought a smile to his face. Of the 842 failed species, 312 had survived and were now receiving assistance. 57 had already shown remarkable progress, their civilizations flourishing under the new approach of guidance instead of judgment. "Sir," a blue-skinned alien entered. The same First Officer Blue who had once nervously transported Walker to the Council. Now he served as a liaison between Earth and the Council. "The Draxi delegation has arrived. They're eager to thank Earth personally." Walker nodded, remembering the Draxi case. They had failed the Council's test a century ago, but had survived, rebuilding their civilization despite immense hardship. Under Earth's new program, they had received the help they needed and were now approaching FTL capability. The meeting room was filled with Draxi representatives, tall, graceful beings with iridescent skin. As Walker entered, they all stood and bowed. "Ambassador," their leader spoke, voice thick with emotion. "Because of Earth's intervention, our children will reach the stars. We once cursed the Council for attacking us. Now we thank humanity for showing us a better way." Walker shook their hands, all four of them, and gestured for them to sit. "Earth knows what it's like to face destruction and choose hope instead of hatred. We're just passing on that lesson." His tablet beeped. Another update. High Speaker Gray appeared on the screen, their metallic skin glowing with excitement. "Ambassador Walker," Gray said, "the Council has just approved the final changes to the First Contact Protocol. From now on, all developing species will be approached with offers of friendship and guidance. The age of testing through violence is officially over." Walker thanked Gray and turned back to the Draxi delegation. "Your success is proof that our new approach works. Soon, you'll help us guide other species too." After the meeting, Walker walked through the embassy's halls, observing the changes 6 months had brought. Species that once avoided humans now sought their counsel. Former enemies worked together on joint projects. The galaxy was transforming. In his office, he found a special message waiting. From Earth Command. Opening it revealed images from the first graduation ceremony of the Galactic Cooperation Academy. Young diplomats from Earth trained alongside representatives from 217 alien species, all learning the new way of peaceful development. Walker opened his personal log and began to write. 6 months since humanity revealed the truth about the Council's tests. 6 months since we chose to change the galaxy through wisdom rather than revenge. Some call us soft for not demanding punishment for the attack on Earth. They didn't understand that true strength lies in helping others become better. He paused, looking out his window at the countless ships moving through space. Today, I watched species that once feared each other working together. I saw civilizations rising from the ashes of failed tests, reaching for the stars again. Earth didn't just join the galactic community. We transformed it. A final message flashed on his screen. The Council had approved funding for a massive project to locate and contact every sapient species in the galaxy, offering help before they reached the stars on their own. Walker added a final line to his log. The Council once attacked Earth because they thought we were too aggressive to join galactic society. Now the galaxy follows Earth's lead because we proved strong enough to choose peace. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in winning a war, but in preventing one. And that's a lesson humanity will keep teaching to every new species reaching for the stars. He closed his log and stood at the window, watching the endless flow of ships against the backdrop of stars. Somewhere out there, another civilization was taking its first steps toward space. This time, they would find friends waiting to help them, not tests meant to break them. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had led the way not through force, but through wisdom.